Hi everyone, this is Cody with Omnimedix Solutions. Thanks for checking out our video. Today we're doing a demo of Omnimedix, which is our latest app. The current version that we're looking at as of the date of this video is Omnimedix version 3.1. It's available on the iTunes App Store for your iPhone, iPod, and iPad, as well as on the Google Play Store for your Android-powered devices. Now, this is the main screen for Omnimedix. It's actually the only screen for Omnimedix until you get into the calculations. Now, I'm a medic too, just like you guys, so I know what you guys need in the back of the ambulance because I need the same thing. Now, if I'm going to use an app to calculate a drug dosage, I need something that's going to be quick, easy, and simple. I don't have time to dig through a bunch of menus. If I'm going to pull my phone out to do a calculation, I need a calculation in about 30 seconds tops. I don't have time to dig through a bunch of extra stuff. So that's exactly why Omnimedix was written. I wrote it for medics like me who might hang a drip once every 2 or 3 years, if that. As a result, I'm not proficient in doing the calculations on the fly to be able to run the calculations and be able to do it quickly and efficiently when the pressure's on when I really need to run a drip. So I did it to be quick and easy. I also wrote it to be the most versatile drip rate calculator that exists. Now then, you can use Omnimedix for every single medication that's commonly carried by EMS agencies, regardless of what the current trend in carrying medications is. The reason Omnimedix is so versatile is that it's based on the units of the infusion, not the specific medication. And we'll talk about that more a little bit later. As you notice here on the home screen, those are all your menu buttons. And if you notice, there are no medications listed on it whatsoever. All you see are the different units of the medication because the calculation for a given infusion unit is the same regardless of the medication. For example, if you need to run an epi drip, it's run in micrograms per minute. If you need to run a nitro drip, it's also run in micrograms per minute, so you can use the exact same calculation. That's the basis of Omnimedix. So let's say that we're going to run a drip, we're going to run an epi drip, and we're going to do it at 2 micrograms per minute. So we're going to take our good friend epi, and you can't see that very well, but that's a vial of epi that I'm sure just about everyone carries. So we're going to calculate an epi drip, and we're going to do it at a rate of micrograms per minute. So we're going to do 2 micrograms per minute. So we tell it 2. We're going to use a 60 drop set because that's what I carry for my piggyback drips. We're going to put that entire epi 1-to-1 vial inside our bag. So we have 1 milligram of epi, and I'm going to hang a 100 milliliter bag. Now then, it's minor with an epi 1-to-1 because you only have 1 extra milliliter, but you have to take into consideration on some of your larger dose medications that there might be several milliliters of fluid in your dose. So for this purposes, we're going to say that we added a 1 milligram of epi 1-to-1, so that's an extra 1 milliliter in our bag. So our total bag volume is 101 milliliters. So when we tell it to calculate, it tells us that our drip rate is 12 drops per minute or 1 drop every 5 seconds. Now then, if you notice, if you've been with us before and you had previous versions of Omnimedix, I didn't have it set up for people who use pumps because I really wasn't taking that into consideration. With this version, we added the output on the bottom of milliliters per hour for those of you who use pumps. So now you can set it up and it tells you that you need to run it, if you're carrying a pump, you need to run it at 12 milliliters per hour to get 2 micrograms per minute out of that particular concentration that we mixed. So there's one of them. We'll go back and let's say next that we want to run a dopamine drip, and there's our good friend dopamine that I'm sure just about everybody carries. So let's say that we're going to run a dopamine drip at 5 micrograms per kilogram per minute. So we select our mics per kilo per minute. We tell it we want to run 5. We're going to say that our patient weight is 185 pounds, and we're going to use a 60 drop set. Now then, here's where you can decide, and here's where another one of the versatility points of Omnimedix. Let's say that you have this bag. That's a total of 400 milligrams in 250 milliliters. It also shows you that it's 1600 micrograms per milliliter there on the bag. So you have 2 options. You can either go 400 milligrams in 250 milliliters and run the calculation that way, or you have the option, if you have the exact concentration, of running it at 1600 micrograms per milliliter. Either way, we'll get the correct number. So we tell it to calculate, and it shows that we're going to run it at 1 drop about 16 drops per minute, or 1 drop every 3.8, so 1 drop every 4 seconds. Now then, a lot of you probably learned the dopamine clock, the way I did, or you learned the formula of take the patient's weight in pounds and knock off the last number, and that number will give you the drip rate to get 5 micrograms per kilograms per minute for your patient. Now then, all those are fine and good, but those take a couple of things into consideration. There's a couple of assumptions that those are based on. Both of those formulas are based on the assumption that you have this exact bag of 1600 micrograms per milliliter. If your supply chain throws you a curveball and they send out a concentration that's different than that, and you try to run either one of those formulas with a different concentration, you'll run the fluid at the wrong rate, and you'll run the incorrect dose, and you run the risk of killing your patient. The other thing is that both of those previous formulas also assume that you get premixed drips in the first place. If you have a vial of dopamine and you have to calculate your own, you have to mix your own drips and calculate them on the fly, those first two formulas, those on-the-fly formulas, completely go out the window. With Omnimedix, you can use any concentration, or you can mix any concentration of medication in a given bag, and you can still run it and it will still work. So we're going to look at another one. So let's say that we want to run an amiodarone drip. So that's 50 milligrams in 3 milliliters. The picture's kind of blurry and I apologize for that, but we all know what amiodarone is. So let's say that we're going to run a drip of amiodarone at 1 milligram per minute. So we select our 1 milligram per minute. We enter 1 milligram. We're going to run a 60 drop set. And let's say that we're going to use we have 150 milligrams, and our bag volume is 103 milliliters, because we have to take that 3 milliliters into consideration from our medication. And that tells you that you're going to run it at 41 drops per minute, or 1 drop every 1.5 seconds. If you're running a pump, you can set it up at 41 milliliters per hour, and it will give you the correct dose. Now then, something else that I didn't intend, but was an unintended consequence of running this app was this. So let's say what you can do with it is you can back calculate if you mix your own drips. So what I mean by back calculate is, you know the dose that you need to give, you know the amount of time you need to give it over, but you need to know the concentration that you're hanging and the drip set that you're using. So what we did at my agency was we got a new medication, TXA, or tranexamic acid. It's a pretty cool medication, and our protocols say that you run it in 1 gram over 10 minutes. So we're going to do grams and minutes. So we started looking at it, and most people, if you're going to hang a drip, your instinct is to grab a 60 drop set. So we went, okay, so we're going to run 1 gram in a 60 drop set, and we're going to run it over 10 minutes. Our medication amount was 1 gram in the box. There was 10 milliliters of fluid in the concentrated medication, and we were carrying a 250 cc bag for our piggyback drip sets. So the 250 cc's plus the 10 cc's, or the 10 milliliters in the concentrated medication, gave us a total of 260 milliliters. So we discovered that whenever we try to run that 1,560 drops per minute, that's not possible. You cannot get that drip rate. So we discovered that the theoretical drip rate was way too high. So by running Omnimedix, you can kind of take this and experiment with it to determine exactly what you need. So the next thing I did was, okay, well, let's try to run this in a 50 cc bag. So we hung it in 60, and that showed us that we had to run 360 drops per minute if we do a more concentrated 60 cc bag. Well, that still didn't work either. Okay, so let's try something else. If we change it to a 10 drop set, now we're getting something that we can use. So we discovered that instead of using a 60 drop set with a 250 cc bag or even a 100 cc bag, to get the correct drip rate for that particular medication, we have to use 1 gram of the medication with a 10 drop set and a 50 cc bag to be able, and run it at 1 drop per second to be able to get the correct dose. So those are the advantages. You can calculate it by hand to figure out exactly how fast you need to run a given drip, but running something like Omnimedix makes it much easier to be able to do. So thanks for watching our video. That's the end of the video. It's available. It's Omnimedix version 3.1. It's available for your iPhone and iPad and iPod Touch. Now then, if you search for it in the iTunes App Store and you're searching for it on your iPad, it's listed as an iPhone app. So if you try to search for it as an iPad app, you won't find it. You'll have to select iPhone apps on your iPad, and it will still download it correctly into your iPad. Again, thanks for checking it out. Please visit our website at omnimedicsolutions.com and check out and like our Facebook page, Omnimedix Solutions, and that's facebook.com/omnimedicsolutions. Thanks so much, and y'all be safe.